Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. Today we will talk about molecular logic of life. The topic of our today's lecture is molecular basis or molecular logic of life. Means that how the life is actually the human being, or we can say the vertebrate life is actually based on molecules, biomolecules. So we will get started from the living and non-living elemental composition, that everything in the universe that is either living and or non-living have elemental composition. For example, if we talk about the book or that one pen which is in my hand, if we talk about that book or pen, this is also made up of some elements or some atoms, or those element or atom will combine with each other in different ratio to form a molecule. So if we talk about the book, that book is made up of some having some elemental composition, that is the element included carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, calcium, phosphorus, titanium. Again, if we will talk about that carbon, oxygen, हाइड्रोजन, तो मेन ऑर्गेनिक एलिमेंट्स हैं, जो कि अगर बुक को हम देखते हैं तो वो भी किसी ऑर्गेनिक मॉलिक्यूल से ही बना हुआ होता है, मेनली कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स या सेलुलोज मटेरियल से। उसके अगर बुक के हम पेजेस की बात करते हैं या किसी भी लिविंग या नॉन लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म की बात करते हैं, तो वो बने हुए होते हैं एलिमेंट्स से या मॉलिक्यूल से इन इट्स केमिकल कॉम्पोजिशन, वाइल living organism like animal have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus. These five elements are the main element of the five to six element are the main elemental composition of all living organism. For example, if we talk about the living organism, so the main component or composition of its main composition of its body is made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, along with nitrogen, calcium, and phosphorus. If we look around chemical composition of earth, if we're talking about the whole earth, so in earth, the earth elemental composition is it contain 46% oxygen, 28% silicon, and the third most abundant element on earth crust is aluminium. So the abundant element on earth crust is first oxygen, that is 46%, and the next one element which is abundant in its concentration or percentage is silicon, which is 28%, and the third most abundant element or metal is aluminium, which is 8%, and the fourth one is iron, which contain earth contain iron in the 6%, and the magnesium is about 4%. Along with magnesium, there are also a calcium present, that is about 2.4%, and the other element which are present in minor percentages, or we can say in minor amount, that is about 5.6%. If we talk about, we are talking about the elemental composition of earth over here. If we talk about the elemental composition of human body, that human body also contain element in the percentage of 65% of human body is contain oxygen. Human body, if we talk about the human body, so a human body contain 65% of oxygen, 18% carbon, and 10% of hydrogen. Along with these three main elements, there is also a 3% of nitrogen, and other element is also present in the living organism or human body, that is in minor ratios. The element which are required in bulk amount for life is hydrogen, sodium, calcium, potassium, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, etc. And the element required in trace amount are mostly transition element along with some other metals, for example, magnesium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc, tin, molybdenum, etc. The essential element to organism are more than that of 30 and less than that of 90 elements. In order to understand the molecular logic of life, we have to understand all those um, physical and chemical laws concerned with life. To understand the molecular logic of life, we have to understand all those laws which are concerned with life, with a living organism. For example, if we take the example of those laws, are living organism operate within same physical laws that apply to a physics and chemistry. And which are these laws? And those laws, if we talk about the first law, yeah, the most primitive law is the law of conservation of mass or law of conservation of energy. And the first one example or applicable law is based on that law of conservation of energy is law of thermodynamic. And another one law is law of chemical kinetic and principle of chemical reaction, along with the sum of the orders of the chemical reaction or kinetics of the chemical reaction. There are many other laws which also concern over here with the molecular logic of life. So, molecular basis of life described in biochemistry terms, the chemical composition of organism, the chemical composition of organism, functions, mechanism, and organizing principle that underlying life in all its diverse form. All these principles we refer to it collectively called molecular logic of life. All those principles are laws or mechanism or functions which organizing all these principles is called molecular logic of life. Biochemistry seeks to explain the life in chemical term. The molecule which are composed by living organism conform by all the familiar laws of chemistry, but they also interact with each other in accordance with another set of principles referred to it collectively as molecular logic of life. अगर हम देखते हैं तो हमारे पास बायोकेमिस्ट्री की जो हमारे पास मेन एक्सप्लेनेशन है ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ लाइफ इज द that the life is based on molecules, and those molecules are having in turn having an elemental composition, and those elements which are involved mainly are discussed already. Its percentages are requirement ratio over there in the first one page. These principles are set of relationship characterizing nature, function, and interaction of biomolecules. Now, the main question arises over here is if living organism composed of molecule that are inanimate, not alive, inanimate means not alive, how do these molecule confer remarkable combination of characteristic we called life? अगर हमारा ये एक मेन सवाल अपने माइंड में अपने जहन में उठता है कि अगर हमारे पास ये लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म उन मॉलिक्यूल के बेस्ड हैं जो कि अलाइव भी नहीं हैं, या उन एलिमेंट्स के बेस्ड हैं जो कि अलाइव भी नहीं हैं, जो कि खुद मल्टीप्लाई या डिवाइड या डेवलप नहीं हो सकते, तो उन मॉलिक्यूल को हम कैसे कहते हैं कि ये हमारे पास सारे वो प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ लाइफ को एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं, या लाइफ इज अबाउट लाइफ इज अबाउट द डिविजन, ग्रोथ और डेवलपमेंट. लेकिन अगर हम मॉलिक्यूल की बात करें तो हम कहते हैं कि दे आर नॉट अलाइव सेल, दे आर इनएनिमेट. How is that living organism appear to be more than some of its inanimate part? After some time, or when the organism which is made up of those molecules that should have to be fixed, ratio that should not have to be increased, then the question arises over here is how is that living organism appear to be more than some of its inanimate part? So all these question which is arises over here at the most ancient concept about living organism or organic matter is it is composed of one of the force that is called force of vitalism, which is existed over there in a living organism. But But the modern sciences reject this concept of force of vitalism. So philosophers once answered that living organisms are indeed mysterious and divine force of life called vitalism, which is rejected by modern sciences. And once the scientist answered to that one for forces in 1828, when Frederick Wohler synthesized one of the organic molecule from inorganic substances and gave the answer to that one ancient law or a concept that there is no force of vitalism over there. This force of vitalism concept is rejected over there by modern sciences. So हमारे पास जो molecular logic of life है, that is those molecule which contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen mainly in its chemical composition. Most of the molecular constitution of living organism are composed of carbon atom covalently bonded with another one carbon atom and with hydrogen, oxygen, or nitrogen. The special bonding properties of carbon permit the formation of great variety of molecule. If we talk about the organic molecule, so that organic compound of molecular weight less than 500, such as amino acid, nucleic acid, or some of the carbohydrates serve as a monomeric unit. Most of the polymeric molecule, basic polymeric molecule is having basic unit. Polymeric molecule is having monomeric basic unit, having monomeric basic unit, basic unit. For example, if we take an example of carbohydrates, so the basic unit of which is we will consider is a polymeric or polysaccharides, are polymeric substances, carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids, along with nucleic acid. अगर हम इन polymeric substances के example लेते हैं, so these are having some of the basic units. For example, that carbohydrate will contain glucose is a basic unit, protein contain amino acid, and nucleic acid contain न्यूक्लियोटाइड्स. सो हमारे पास ये जो ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स हैं विच इज़ हैविंग मॉलिक्यूलर वेट लेस देन दैट ऑफ 500, 500, इसके इन सब के जो मॉलिक्यूलर वेट्स बनते हैं इन ऑर्गेनिक मॉलिक्यूल्स के या पॉलीमेरिक यूनिट्स के, इनके मॉलिक्यूलर वेट 500 यूनिट्स से 500 से कम बनते हैं. सिंगल प्रोटीन मॉलिक्यूल में है 1,000 or more amino acid and जो अगर हमारे पास हम अमाइनो एसिड की बात करते हैं तो कोई भी अमाइनो प्रोटीन अगर हम ले लें एग्जांपल में, तो उसमें हमारे पास एक प्रोटीन में हमारे पास थाउजेंड्स अमाइनो एसिड आते हैं. और इसी तरह अगर हम न्यूक्लिक एसिड की बात करते हैं तो डीएनए की बात करते हैं. लेट्स सपोज न्यूक्लिक एसिड में अगर हम डीएनए की बात करते हैं तो इसमें हमारे पास बहुत सारे न्यूक्लियोटाइड, मिलियंस ऑफ न्यूक्लियोटाइड यूनिट्स भी हो सकते हैं. ठीक है. So this carbohydrate is also made up of hundreds of more than that of the glucose unit will combine with each other to form a tree. Just like in human body it will form involved in the formation of glycogen, and in plant it is involved in the formation of starch. Each cell of bacteria, if we take an example of one celled organism, वन सेल्ड ऑर्गेनिज्म में अगर हम कोई एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं, उसमें अगर हम बैक्टीरिया की एग्जांपल लेते हैं, और बैक्टीरिया में जो मोस्ट कॉमन एग्जांपल है या मोस्ट कॉमन बैक्टीरिया है one celled organism bacteria. If we take an example of E. coli, Escherichia coli, this Escherichia coli contain more than 6,000 different kind of organic molecule. This one-celled organism, which is E. coli or Escherichia coli, contains 6,000 of different kind of organic molecules or organic compounds. ठीक है। सो हमारे पास इसमें जो ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स पाए जाते हैं वो एक वन सेल्ड ऑर्गेनिज्म में इतने ज़्यादा हैं। और अगर हम इसकी प्रोटीन की बात करते हैं, सो दिस वन बैक्टीरिया कंटेन अबाउट 3000, almost most of the common bacteria mostly contain different types of proteins, and which will confer or give different properties to that microorganism. For example, E. coli, which is contain 3000 of protein, it means it is involved in the transcription process much more. So it will divide it much more easily, or this protein which will provide properties to that organism to provide it different kinds of enzymes. In human, there may be a tons of thousands of different kind of protein, as well as many types of polysaccharides chain, and wide variety of nucleic acid or lipid, and may having some other compound of lower molecular weight. So हमारे पास अगर हम ह्यूमन बॉडी की बात करते हैं, so ये 10,000 से भी ज़्यादा ऑर्गेनिक मॉलिक्यूल अगर ह्यूमन बॉडी को की बात करते हैं, सो दैट ह्यूमन बॉडी कंटेन अबाउट more than that of 10,000 of organic molecule, different organic molecule, which may included carbohydrate, protein, lipids, and nucleic acid. In order to purify or to characterize thoroughly all of these molecules, this is much more difficult task, or it is not for the fact that each class of macromolecule is composed of small and common set of monomeric unit. That's why we can't separate, or we can't purify or characterize each and every polymeric molecule, or these molecule from which our body is made up of. These monomeric subunit can be covalently linked to form a variety of, or we can say limitless organic molecule ये और बनाते हैं, और ये molecule आपस में मिलके बहुत सारे different kinds of other molecules और compounds बनाते हैं। जिस तरह हम देखते हैं कि हमारे पास अल्फ़ाबेट में सिर्फ 26 लेटर हैं, तो नंबर ऑफ वर्ड्स या सेंटेंसेस या बुक्स अगर हम देखते हैं, तो इनसे बहुत सा इसमें इन्हीं 26 वर्ड्स से या लेटर से हमारे पास बहुत सारे सेंटेंसेस बनते हैं, और इन्हीं 26 वर्ड्स से हमारे पास लेटर से हमारे पास बहुत सारी किताबें जाके बनती हैं, और किताबों से जाके हमारे पास बहुत सारे जर्नल्स बनते हैं, मैगजीन बनते हैं। सो सेम लाइक दैट अगर हम मॉलिक्यूल्स की बात करते हैं, अगर एलिमेंटल कॉम्पोजिशन की हमने बात की, तो हमने कहा कि एलिमेंट्स जो हैं वो 6 या 5 से मिक्रो मॉलिक्यूल है, या मिक्रो लार्ज अमाउंट में जो रिक्वायरमेंट है बॉडी की वो सिर्फ 5 या 6 एलिमेंट है। लेकिन अगर हम इनकी ऑर्गेनिक मॉलिक्यूल की बात करते हैं, तो मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा हुआ है कि 10,000 से ज़्यादा ऑर्गेनिक मॉलिक्यूल हमारे बॉडी में या ह्यूमन बॉडी में पाए जाते हैं। और अगर हम देखते हैं कि डीएनए जो हैं, या हम सिंपली अगर हम डीएनए की एग्जांपल ले लें, तो डीएनए इज़ मेड अप ऑफ या कंस्ट्रक्टेड फ्रॉम ओनली 4 डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ सिंपल यूनिट्स या सिंपल मोनोमेरिक यूनिट। इसमें कितने मौजूद हैं, ये कितने मोनोमेरिक यूनिट से बना हुआ है डीएनए जो है, वो सिंपली 4 डिफरेंट मोनोमेरिक यूनिट से बना हुआ है, 4 डिफरेंट मोनोमेरिक यूनिट्स। एंड जो आरएनए है वो भी हमारे पास वही 4 टाइप्स ऑफ मोनोमेरिक यूनिट से बना हुआ है। और अगर हम प्रोटीन की बात करते हैं, लेकिन डीएनए में हम कहते हैं कि हर एक इंडिविजुअल की एक डिफरेंट डीएनए पैटर्न होता है, एक डिफरेंट सिक्वेंशियल अरेंजमेंट होती है हर एक न्यूक्लियोटाइड्स की। तो वो न्यूक्लियोटाइड जो हर एक ह्यूमन इंडिविजुअल की डीएनए बनाती हैं, वो दूसरे इंडिविजुअल से डिफरेंट होती हैं। तो सेम लाइक दैट अगर हम देखते हैं, तो प्रोटीन भी बने हुए हैं कितने अमाइनो एसिड से। ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ प्रोटीन आर मेड अप ऑफ 20 डिफरेंट standard amino acid, 20 different standard amino acid which are involved in the formation of more than that of 100 or 200 or thousands of protein in our human body. Different kinds of protein are made up of only 20 different types of standard amino acid. A standard amino acid are those amino acid which involved only in protein synthesis. तो उन अमाइनो एसिड को हम कहते हैं कि ये हमारे पास स्टैंडर्ड हैं, ये स्टैंडर्ड प्रोटीन बनाते हैं। और प्रोटीन भी जो हैं वो कितने डिफरेंट अमाइनो एसिड से, डिफरेंट प्रोटीन कितने डिफरेंट अमाइनो एसिड से बनते हैं? ओनली 20 different amino acid are involved in the formation of all type of protein. So that's all about the logic, molecular logic of life, या molecular logic of or living organism. So we will talk in our next one lecture about the animal cell. Thank you.